My screen is visible. So this is the circuit. So we have AC source on one end. Okay. So this is AC source. So we need to select a 415 volts line voltage, right? So therefore this will prompt for peak amplitude, right? So therefore 415 by root 3 into root 2. So that will gives you the phase voltage peak value. So we need to generate three phase, so which are displaced by minus 120 degrees. So this is another minus 120 degrees from B to C. Okay. So in this block, I'm measuring three phase voltages and three phase currents. So here I'm measuring the phase to ground voltage. So that is phase voltage I'm measuring. I'm labeled this as VABC and IABC. VABC and IABC. After that, so we have this coupling inductor. So we have this coupling inductor. So this is LAC. So usually it consists of some resistance also. So that resistance value is very small. So it is in the order of 0.1 ohm or something. So I neglected that and I just connected an inductor. So come to here, this is a 2-level 3-phase inverter, 3-level 2-phase inverter. So here I am measuring the inverter currents just to cross check. So here I am measuring the inverter currents just to cross check. So these are the firing pulses for S1, S3, S5 for the top switches, S4, S6 and S2 for the bottom switches. And we have this capacitor. So normally for capacitor, we will choose some 2200 microfarad or some 4700 microfarad, some standard values, right? Since I need to maintain a 700 voltage across this one, okay, so therefore, so we initial means we will set that initial capacitor voltage as 650. So I assume that the capacitor is pre-charged with 90% of its voltage or so. So roughly I set as 650 volts. This DC heating element, its resistance is given as 10 ohm. So therefore I selected a 10 ohm branch here, a 10 ohm element here. So this is 10 ohm resistance. That means this will act such a load. I'm measuring voltage across this point, right? And I label this as VDC. Okay. So here I'm measuring the source voltages, phase voltages, source currents, and also I'm measuring the DC side voltage. Okay. So first and foremost thing what we had to do is we already discussed it in this. Okay. So first we need to convert the. So we need to start from here. We need to measure the or we need to sense the grid voltages and grid currents and transform these into a alpha BQ reference frame. So for that, so what we had to do is, so these are the grid or the source side voltages and currents. So VABC and IABC. So these are acquired from the three-phase voltage and current measurement. Okay. So here this VABC I have given to a ABC to DQ0, ABC to DQ0, and this IABC from ABC to DQ0. So inside that you can also see what is there inside. So first we convert this one into ABC to alpha beta transformation and alpha beta to DQ transformation. Okay, so in this we have to actually see, so what is the This is a matrix, transformation matrix, 1 minus 1 by 2 minus 1 by 2 0, root 3 by 2 and minus root 3 by 2, 1 by 2 1 by 2 and 1 by 2. So in this we need to check whether, so what kind of k is used, that means transformation coefficient used, so whether it is 2 by 3 or square root 2 by 3. Okay, if square root 2 by 3 is used, so that is power invariant. If only 2 by 3 is used, so that is voltage invariant. Since we are dealing with powers, so therefore, so I used square root 2 by 3. I think by default, so it is 2 by 3. Similarly, this is voltage ABC to DQ transformation, and this is current ABC to DQ transformation. So for DQ transformation, you require a phase lock loop. For DQ transformation, you require a phase lock loop. So this is phase lock loop. So this is three-phase PLL. Okay, so the input to this PLL is the grid voltage. So I have given the grid voltage as an input, and it gives you the frequency and omega t. So frequency is not required. Frequency is not required. So therefore, you just you require this omega t, and omega t is given here, right? So this is 1 omega t is going here, and so this another omega t is going here. Okay. So if you look under this, what is inside this PLL? So you can see this, right? So this is synchronous reference frame based PLL. So VABC is first transformed into DQ quantities. Okay, ABC to DQ quantities, or this is DQ reference frame. Again, we already discussed that this VD consists of the magnitude term, and this VQ consists of, or VQ have this frequency, so this phase angle information, right? So here they're not using the magnitude, so therefore they are selected only VQ. So after that, so this entire thing is the loop filter, right? This entire thing is the loop filter, and after that, so this one is the this voltage controlled oscillator. Okay. So there are other some automatic gain control and some other variants are there, so that will improve its performance under distorted supplies, or it will reduce the noise from the PLL. Okay. So we obtain this VD, VQ, V0 and ID, IQ, I0. So this is here. So since we require the individual ones, so therefore I demasked. So this is VSD, VSQ, V0. This ISD, ISQ, I0. Okay, so this is QD0 and this is ID0. Okay. So first this transformation is completed. So this transformation is completed. So next step is to obtain the reference. Next step is to obtain the reference ID, IQs. So how to obtain that reference ID, IQs? So this is given here, right? So either we'll control this Q reference with actual Q. So here we are operating at unity power factor. So therefore we need to keep this QS or Q star as 0 to obtain this IQ star. To obtain this ID star, we need to measure the actual voltage across the DC side, and we'll compare with the reference DC voltage, or we'll compare, that is one way, or we will compare with actual active power and reference active power. So that also gives you this ID star. So come to this. Okay. So there are two things are there here, right? So just focus on the first one. So this is 700. So that is our reference DC voltage. So we are comparing with the actual DC voltage. So that is VDC. So we have this PI controller. Okay. So forget about this. And this is given to, right? So this is given to the, or this is generating the ID star, right? So this is generating ID star. Similarly, to generate IQ star, okay, so we need to give the, means we need to obtain the this reference IQ star, right? So that means we will compare with 0. So that is the reactive power reference. So the actual reactive power, the formula is VSD into ISQ, VSD into ISQ. So that will be the active, that will be the reference reactive current, okay, reactive power. So we will divide this one. So this gives you the ID star. So this gives you the this reactive component. Right. So here the next step is, so what we have to do is, yeah, this one. So first ITD, so these are the actual one ITD, that is the actual currents, and these are the reference currents. Reference currents minus actual currents into PI controller. Similarly, this reference currents minus actual currents into PI controller in Q axis, and we need to use this decoupled control, right? So that means VD, and we need to subtract this IQ component to decouple this. Similarly, we need to subtract this ID component to decouple this, and these will be the modulating signals. This is VTD and VTQ are the modulating signals in DQ reference frame, right? So we will implement this one. So we need to implement this, right? So first thing, so this is the reference current in ID, and this is the actual ID, that is ISD. So we are given to a PI controller. Okay, so we are given to a PI controller. So this is the one thing, and this is VSD, right? So this VSD, so here this VSD is there, right? So this one minus this decoupled one, so minus omega LS into this one, right? So we have this, yeah, this term. So this ISQ into omega LS, so that is 2 pi into 50, so that gives you omega. So this LAC, I assume this is LAC, right? So this is given as minus, okay, since here it is minus, right? So this is minus, so therefore I given minus. Okay, this plus plus and minus, so this gives you the reference in, so that is that gives you the this one, that is VTD, gives you the VTD. So come to this Q axis. Okay, so this is IT, means IQ star, and we will compare, this is IQ star, and we will compare this with actual value. So that is ISQ. So that is ISQ here. Okay, this ISD comparison, and this is ISQ comparison, and we have this PI controller, right? So this is going here, and we are adding this VSQ here. So we are adding this VSQ here, okay, and this decoupled term, that is omega LS into ITD, or in this case this omega into ISD. So this is the term. So this ISD into omega LAC, and we are adding here. So that gives you the what it gives you, that gives you the exact means VTQ. Okay, that gives you the VTQ. Clear? So once this is done, right? So once this is done, so we obtain the reference values in DQ transformation or in DQ reference frame. Right. So along this V0, so usually this V0 component is 0 in a balanced supply. So we'll add this V0 term. Since its value is 0, we assume this is balanced voltages. So after that, we need to normalize this one, right? Since these values will vary from plus 400, or it will usually vary from 415 or something, right? So we need to normalize this one. So therefore, we need to divide this one with half of the voltage, DC voltage, or full of the DC voltage. So depending on your tuning. Okay, so I selected half of the DC voltage, so that is 0.5. Right. So here this is divided. So this is contains this some DC quantities, right? So VD, VQ are in DC quantities. So therefore, to reduce this lower order harmonics, I just connect a low pass filter. Again, this is optional. This low pass filter is optional. this low pass filter is optional. You can select the time constant as 1 e power minus 4 or 1 e power minus 3, right? So this is dq0 to abc transformation, dq0 to abc transformation. Again, for dq0 to abc transformation, you require this omega t, and this omega t is obtained from here, the same phase log. It gives you this omega t, right? So this is I reused here to make sure that everything is synchronized. Okay, so this is dq0 to abc transformation. So this gives you the modulating signals in abc reference frame. This gives you the modulating signal in abc reference frame. Okay, so we can also connect this low pass filter. So whatever this low pass filter is having, right? So that is in this vdc measurement, you can actually use this. You can also connect here to make sure that the ripples are not present on the DC voltage. Again, these low pass filters, so it will improve the or it will reduce the ripples. If you use a large time constant, so in that case, so it will sluggish the performance. Okay, so these are the ABC modulating signals in ABC reference frame. So next step is we need to compare with the triangle carriers. So these are the triangle carriers. I considered the 5000 Hz frequency. Right, the inverter is operating at 5000 Hz. That means carrier frequency is 5000 Hz or 5 kHz. So this is the comparison to generate the firing signals for the upper and bottom devices. Okay. So let us run this. So what are the inputs we need to give is, so LAC we need to give, right? So I can consider this LAC is 5 millihenry. Some sample time, maybe you can consider 10 microsecond as a sample time. So we'll run this. LAC, right? It's completed. So what are the things we need to observe is, so first thing is the reference. So DC voltage, so we need to check so whether it is maintaining or not. So we'll check that. See here, right? So this is the reference is 700 ohm, right? 700 volts, right? So this is corresponding to 700. So you can see that. So this is actually falling, right? Okay. So this is exactly maintaining 700 volts. So within this is 0.1 second. So up to here, this is 0.1 seconds. So this is 0.2. So that means it is already taking 0.2 seconds to finish this or to achieve the steady state value. Okay. So what else we need to observe is, we need to see whether that reactive power is completely compensated, or so we need to cross check. So both A phase and B phase, means A phase voltage and A phase currents are in phase or not, and we need to again check so whether these currents are sinusoidal or not, right? So for that, so what we have to do is, this is VABC and this is IABC. So these are the inverter currents. So you can see that, so these inverter currents are smooth, right? You can see that, so these are the inverter currents. So this is A phase voltage and this is A phase current and this A phase voltage. So I'm checking these two in scope to check whether these are in phase or not. So you can cross check that. So both are in phase, right? So A phase and B phase. So both are in phase. Okay. Yeah. So currents are sinusoidal and are in phase. Okay. So next thing is, so this resistors come to this resistor. So this is 10 ohm and its voltage is, how much its voltage is 700 volts, right? So how much power it will actually consume? How much real power it actually consume? Its voltage is 700 and its value is 10. So how much real power it will actually consume?
49K.
49,000 or 49k, right? So that is V square by R. So that is around 49k. Right. So that means approximately from the source side, see if you assume that the losses are almost neglected. So from the source side, if you measure the power, this is DC side power, right? Okay, from in this capacitor, it is also here discharging some power, but it will only takes the ripple component in the current, right? So therefore, we assume that the almost zero. So therefore, or you can approximate as the AC power is DC power. So therefore, if you measure the power on the AC side, so it will be roughly 49k. And since we are compensated the reactive power, and the reactive power will be roughly, or it is somewhere around zero. Okay. So we can cross check that. So whether by measuring this three phase uh, powers. So this is three phase powers in ABC reference frame, and so these are three phase powers in DQ reference frame. Okay. So this is VABC, IABC. So these are the inputs for this power measurement. So this gives you the instantaneous powers PQ. So this gives you the instantaneous power. This is the power measurement block. Okay, they're just measuring this simple. Okay, so this is just power measurement block only. Okay, they're multiplying this VABC and VABC and this adding this. So that gives you this P, and this is for Q. So this gives you the instantaneous active and reactive powers. Okay, to make it some fine values, I just consider this RMS value. So these are the RMS active and reactive power. If you notice that, so this value is 49,000, this is 49,000, right? So roughly 49k. Okay, and if you notice that the reactive power is usually 0, so small value is present, so that's 500 volts value is present. So compare this active power of 49,000, this reactive power is very small, right? That is hardly 1%. So therefore we can assume that so this reactive power is almost compensated. So this is the same thing in DQ transformation. So this 2 by 3 additional 2 by 3 is for to make sure that so both are in same power invariance. Right. So here I consider this is 0, right? Reactive power is 0. If you want to inject some certain amount of reactive power, say for example, I want to inject some 50,000 reactive power, 50,000 VAR. So let us run this. So now it will no longer maintain the unity power factor, right? It will no longer maintain the unity power factor because it is drawing a reactive power of 50,000. You can see okay, the inductance is somewhat high. can reduce the inductance. It seems like some tuning is required. So for the inductance. So you will get this. Just a second. So this is same thing. Okay. Right. So this is same, and but it is tuned a bit. So this is active power P, and this is reactive power Q. Okay. So this is active power P, and this is reactive power Q. So this is active power injection. So this is what we discussed, right? This is another method to inject certain amount of active power. If you want to inject certain amount of active power, so this is 10,000, this active power reference. So this is VSD. So we need to divide this one with VSD or 3/2 VSD. So that all depends on the transformation coefficient. So that gives you the this ID star, right? Same thing here. So this 15,000, so 1,50,000, so 150K, and this reactive power is 0. So this is the power reference. It's running. So you can see here, so this is the power. So this is 150, right? So this is the power is, so 150, and reactive power is just 1200, and this is just almost 0, right? So it's just 1000. So reactive power is almost 0. Okay. If you want to inject certain amount of reactive power, for example, instead of this 0, so I want to inject some how much? So this 100,000 K. See here, right? So active power is maintaining at 150K, and the reactive power is 100K. You can see here, right? Still the currents are, you can see the currents here. So current, voltage and currents. So these are three-phase voltage and currents. You can see both are balanced, right? Okay. So if you assume that, so this resistance is around 50 ohm. Okay. So this resistance is 50 ohm. So now the question is, so what should be the value of VDC? Okay. The power we are injecting is 150 ohm. And what should be the value of this VDC here? What should be its value? If the resistance is 50 ohm, what is the value of VDC? So P is V square by R, right? Okay. So from that we need to back calculate this VDC. So this VDC is, so P by R under root. Okay. If you calculate that,
Around
so this
86.
is how much?
So 86 volt around.
86. No,
2738.
it won't be 86. Okay, it will be around more than 2500 or something. Yeah, it is
Yes,
given. Right? Okay, so it is around how much?
2738.
2736, right? You can see that it is 2732. Okay, so what we discussed that in previous classes, we cannot maintain the both same. Either we can keep the real power constant or the voltage across the DC constant. Okay, so here if you are keeping the real power constant or if you are controlling the real power, so this DC value so will be automatically vary. Okay, for the same circuit, so this for resistance is 50 ohm. Okay, this for resistance, so 50 ohm. So for example, if I change this resistance to 10 ohm, okay, I change the resistance to 10 ohm, and so instead of that, so I changed the power to 49,000, that is 49k. So in that case, I just made this reactive power to 0. Made this reactive power to 0. So now you are supposed to get 700 volts across that. We'll see whether you'll get 700 volts or not. See here, you can see here, right? So it is almost exactly 700. Okay, this is 700 and this is 702. Somewhere around 701 you are getting. Okay. This is how to deal. So when the power you are controlling and the reactive power are how to control the voltage across the DC bus. So this is this is so this is direct approach, right? Since we are measuring this IABC. Okay, so we have this indirect approach. So in this case of indirect approach, this is for indirect approach. Okay, so this circuit is remains same. Okay, so whatever the circuit is there, so that is remains same, right? The highlighted one, so that is remains same. So only thing is we need to, instead of measuring this grid currents or this inverter currents, so we need to obtain that inverter current from grid voltages. Okay, we need to obtain the grid currents from grid voltages. So for that we have this additional one, right? So here, so we need to implement some feed forward so network. This is the one. Yeah, this circuit we need to implement, right? The left hand side circuit we need to implement. So this is VTD, okay, minus VTD. So how this VTD is obtained? So this is VTD, right? So these are the modulating signals are this VTD. So this is VTD, right? So VTD we already generated. So just label that as VTD. Okay. So after this decoupling, I just before this transformation into DQ, so I just label this as VTD and this as VTQ. So this is VTD and this is VTQ. Okay. So next step is VTD minus VSD, VTD minus VSD, and we need to do this mathematics or this one. So this RS, ISD into RS, ISD into 1 by LSS, and this is transfer function, and again this is omega AC, okay, 2 pi omega LS. So this is again this cross coupling. So this minus minus here. So by minus minus you can see here, right? So here you have this minus minus, right? Just try to implement the same thing. So that gives you this ISD and ISQ. So that gives you the ISD and ISQ. Again, this ISD and ISQ, so you need to use here. So where we have to use here this ISD and ISQ. in reference current generation, right? So this is ISD star, okay, and this is ISD, and this is ISQ star. So this one is ISQ star, and this is ISQ. So this is ISQ. So here we need to use this ISD and ISQ. So earlier from the ABC to DQ transformation, so we obtained this ISD and ISQ. So now, so we are indirectly obtained from inverter voltages or from grid voltages. So the rest of the procedure is same. Again, this is PI controller, right? Again, this is PI controller, and after that we will calculate this VTD and VTQ. Okay. So again, we need to normalize with this 0.5 of VDC and triangle carrier comparison, so that generates S1, S3, S5 and the reference signals. Okay. Right. So here some resistance is also, I assume some resistance is also, but I made it 0. So let us input that. So RS is 0. So LS maybe you can keep 1 or 3 microsecond prelim. So we'll run this one. Okay, this is done. So now we will check so the voltages. Yeah, you can see the voltages, right? So again, it is maintained at 700 volts. Okay, so it is maintained at 700 volts. So this one is 705. This is 710. So the ripple is slightly higher. The ripple is slightly higher when compared to that current control, the direct control, and we will see whether these ABC and these are currents are in phase or not. So you can see that both currents and voltages are in phase in A phase, similar in B phase and C phase also. Okay. When compared to the direct control, so the drawback is its accuracy is depends on the variables, so that how you are measuring the voltage and so how you are accurately representing this LS and RS. So these are very important, right? We need to accurately mention these two things. So instead of this, if you connect a transformer, so in that case it is difficult to in transformer there are a lot of other parameters, so that also depends. So therefore this accuracy will be slightly reduced. Okay. So when compared to this direct method and this indirect method, so the direct method gives you the best result. For example, if I change the reference as 800 volts, I change this to 800 volts. See, you can see that the ripple value will be slightly higher than that, right? So the ripple value will be higher than, so what we can see here, these waveforms are very smooth. See here, this waveform is very smooth, right? So when compared to this, so that is slightly distorted, so with higher order ripple content. So you have any questions? You have any questions?
Can you show us PI values, sir? Few PI block values.
PI tuning is easy only. You can easily tune the PI. For example, for this one. Okay. So this is DC value, right? So this I consider this 1 and 30. Okay. So you can easily tune it. For example, you'll keep this 2 and 5. 2 and 5 I kept instead of that 1 and 30. See its performance is some oscillatory, right? Okay. So this is something like this, right? Some oscillations are there, right? So we can some ripple content is also there, right? So therefore, so just try to increase that. So first thing is increase this kp value and keep that k remains same. So just increase it 10 and 5 and just see. See here it's completely distorted, right? And I kept 10 and 5. So that means, so we need to keep the previous value. So that is 2 and 5. So instead of changing this kp, so just change it ki. So make it 2 and 10. This is just trial and error method only. So now it is improved a bit, right? Okay, when compared to the previous one, so it is improved a bit, right? So still some so peak overshoots are there, so we can reduce that. So maybe you can keep it with 1 and you can increase this. So 1 and 15. For generally we'll keep this kp constant and ki will vary, right? Okay. C will see the performance. If it is not suiting, so we'll interchange that. That means ki will be fixed and kp will be varying. So like that we'll tune it. Okay, so earlier peak overshoot is around 800 or something, right? So now it is reduced to 760. Okay, the peak overshoot is now so reduced to 760. So again, we'll change this one. You can make it 0.5 or you can make it 30 or something. Right. So now earlier it is 760 or something. The peak overshoot is 760. So now it is reduced to 720 or something like that. But the steady state error is increased, right? Because we are increasing KI, some steady state error is increased. Okay. So we need to have something like we need to check the steady state error and peak overshoot, and we will tune the KP and KI. That's it. Okay. For the same thing, I have given 700, right? If you reduce that Ki value, that steady state error will be increased or decreased. Okay, so first we will control the peak overshoot, and after that we will control the steady state error. So we also notice that changing the active power will not change the reactive power, or changing the reactive power reference will not affect the active power. So that's why it is a decoupled control. So you have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, without that initial capacitor voltage, do we get the output same, sir?
If we can get, so I will turn off that, I will. So one thing is that the capacitor is uncharged, right? When the capacitor is uncharged, so as in when you turned on, right? So what will happen? Hey, a large inrush currents so will be there, right? So that will usually charge the capacitor. So in that case, nothing will change. So when you are measuring the current, right, the source current will be drastically increased. At initial, to make the capacitor charge, the source current will be increased.
Okay, sir.
I will show you that. Sometimes we need to charge this capacitor because the source currents are increased a lot, right? So we have usually some fuse or some protectionist equipment is there. So at that time when you're trying to start, so therefore we can experience that the fuse or that MCB will be triggered. So therefore what we have to do is to pre-charge that capacitors. The idea is very easy to pre-charge the capacitor. You see here that, right? So this capacitor is not pre-charged. See here some it is even crossed at that around 950 or something. And you can also see the currents. That variation can be seen in currents. See here the current is touching for the current is usually around 100 amperes range, but the current is usually touching 400 amperes. Okay, so when it is not pre-charged. So at this peak current, when it's drawing peak current, right? So therefore, what will happen? It will draw large amount of this means large. It will trigger the EMCB or some protection circuit. So to make sure that to pre-charge that, pre-charging is also easy, right? So first thing is operate this as a diode bridge rectifier. So we need to inhibit the firing signals for some 1 or 2 seconds. So therefore, what will happen? That these diodes, it will act as a diode bridge rectifier, and it will charge that capacitor to 3 Vm by pi. Okay. Clear? So that's why we
Yes, sir.
usually pre-charge this one. Generally, when you're doing experiments so across that capacitors, we will connect some breeder resistance. So have you ever seen some green color, some kind of resistance? Have you ever seen that green color resistance? Okay, so that is usually connected across the capacitor. So why to connect that capacitor? So capacitor, for example, in a circuit, if the capacitor is charged to 500 volts or something, right? Okay, so when you turn off that, so we need to discharge the capacitor. Okay, when you turn off that, we need to discharge the capacitors. Otherwise, if you touch the terminals, even though the power is off, right? If you touch the inverter terminals, you can experience some shock. Okay. So therefore, what we have to do is we need to discharge the capacitor through this what we say some breeder resistances. Okay. So when you are operating again, so it will act as a capacitor with uncharged voltage. So any questions? No? So we'll stop then.